Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So this is part 2 video on ASP.NET Core Identity Authentication series. Okay, in this video we are going to do the registration email confirmation. So previously we just did or followed the fake email confirmation, right? Let's see that again. Okay, so first let me create the my registered record. Okay, so that I can re-register again. Okay, I'm deleting. Okay. Now let's go to our application and go to registration form. Let me register again. So this is the registration confirmation message page where we have a link for confirm email. So this is a fake one. What what is the actual means? We should get a email from our email address. We have to click on the link. Okay. But for the learners, Microsoft provided this fake email confirmation. Now we have to remove this code and we have to implement the actual email sending process. Okay. So to send email from our Razor Page application, we must have a some third party email service. Okay. So for that, I am going to use the SendGrid, a third party provider. Okay. Okay, just go to sendgrid.com and make sure to start free service. Okay, you have to sign up. Since I have already signed up, I am going to sign in. Okay, so this SendGrid is a very helpful service where we get, I think, around daily 1,000 emails for free. For learning purpose, it is one of the best email service provider. Okay, let me log into my SendGrid account. Okay, this is my SendGrid welcome page. So now what we have to do means we have to register a from address. Okay, so from that from address, the email is going to be sent to the users. Okay, to do that, on left hand side menu, go to settings. Okay, and click on the sender authentication. On clicking sender authentication, you are going to see like this page. Okay, and since I have already registered one email address, it is showing like this. If you haven't registered, you will see a get started button here. Okay, if you click on, let me click on this. Okay, so if you click on the get sender also, you are going to receive a form like this. Okay, where you have to define here. There are two main things. Okay, name and from email address. Name you can give anything. So this name will be the display name for the email sent to the users. And this is the from address for the users. In general, you have to create a something like your application account or your organization account. Okay, those kind of emails have to be provided. For testing purpose, I have given my personal email address. In general, we should give the our organization address or our application based address. Okay, remaining things, there are so many mandatory fields here. You can give anything, it will accept. But two main things important are name and the your email address. Once you created, it will add here single sender verification list. Okay. And if you observe, once you register, here you won't see a verification. It will be a cross, means it need to be verified. Okay. That means once you register, okay, you are going to get a email from the SendGrid, like confirmation email. If you click on that link, here verified will be get a tick mark. That means approved. Okay. So this email can be approved by the SendGrid. So this is the from email address I can use in my application. Okay, let's go to our application. Let me create some settings in the app settings.development.json. Okay, so I will create settings like SendGrid settings. Okay, here I am going to add from email. Okay, and email name. Okay, so those values we have just registered, right? So this is the name. Okay, email name, and this is the from email address. Okay, now we have to get the SendGrid API authentication key as well. Okay, to get the API authentication key, go to SendGrid website. On left hand side, go to settings. Again, go to settings. So here you can see the API keys. Okay, so if you click on create API, here there are the permissions that we have to provide for our API key. So you can give some name and you can select full access and click on create. Once you're done, the API key will be generated here. One more thing, whenever we create first time, it will display on creating, it will display the API key. It will show only one time. Okay, you should copy and save it safely. If you want to see second time, we have to regenerate it. Okay, so since I have already saved it safely, I am going to use it here. Okay, so API key. So I am going to add here my already saved API key. Okay, I am again mentioning whenever you click create at the first time, this SendGrid will display the API key. Please make sure to copy it because second time it won't show. Okay, if you want second time, you have to click like edit and you have to click on update. Again, it will generate a new API key. Okay, okay, I have added my API key. So now what I have to do means I have to create a class for my settings so that I can easily access those settings into our application. So let me create a class that represents our settings. So for that, let me create a folder like settings. Inside of that folder, let me create a class like uh, SendGrid settings. Here is my SendGrid settings class. Here we are going to add the properties for each setting. Okay. So to read those settings wherever we want or to inject these settings wherever you want, we want to register these settings with our DI. Okay. So go to program.cs file. So here just above this app build, we have to do any kind of service registration. Okay. So builder dot services dot configure. Okay. I want to configure SendGrid settings. Okay. So let me import the namespace. And here I have to pass the path of these settings in app settings. Okay. So to do that, we can pass builder.configurations.get section. And to this section, we have to pass the name of the main property or the parent property. Okay. So with this registration, Now I can inject this send grid as a options, okay, so that I can access those settings wherever I want, okay. So that's about the send grid settings. Now send grid itself provide a package so that we can use those packages to work with the SendGrid in .NET applications directly. Okay, so the first package we have to install. Okay, search like SendGrid NuGet package. So here is the .NET CLI command. If you are using Visual Studio, please copy it from the package manager. So let me copy from .NET CLI. Okay, let me open one more terminal and install the package. Okay, so to confirm it, we know we can check in CS project file. Okay, here is the SendGrid package reference. Okay, along with this, we can inject one more dependent package that is for support the DA. To support the SendGrid library for dependency injection, we need to install one more library. Okay. Okay, such like SendGrid dot extensions dot dependency injection. Okay. So as usual, copy from the .NET CLI. Okay, open the terminal again, clean these logs. Okay, try to install it. Okay, it is installed successfully. So let me check in the CS project file and I can see the library reference. Okay, so now I have the SendGrid files, right? So now I can register the SendGrid in the our program.cs file for DA injection. Okay, so to register that, builder.services.add SendGrid. Okay, and for this we have to import the namespace. So SendGrid.extensions.dependency injection namespace must be imported. Okay, here in the options we can configure the our API key. Okay, so options.api key. So to this we have to assign the API key. So to read the API key from the JSON file, we can use builder dot configurations dot get section. Okay, we know this is the parent property of the settings. So inside of the sections, I want the API key. So for that, I can extend like get value that is of type string, and it should pass the input parameter of the main property, that is the actual property name. Okay, so here what I am doing means I am globally configuring the API key for my SendGrid library. Okay, that is the registration. Okay, so now I have to implement the email sending logic, but by default ASP.NET Core Identity uses the interface for email sending library. So let me show you that. Okay, so if I go to my registration.cshtml.cs, here there is a file like interface like email sender, but we have only interface only, there is no implementation. So what we can do, we can create a service and that service going to inherit this interface so that actual logic gets automatically executed. Okay, so for that, let me create a new folder like services. Okay, and here I'm going to create a new service like what is the interface name? Go to register.cshtml email sender, right? So I am going to name my service like email sender service. Okay, here is our email sender service. Let's inherit the I email service. Okay, so let's implement the namespace. Sorry, import the namespace and implement the contract methods. Okay, so this is the default method that we have to implement for the I email sender service. Okay, so here I can use my send grid logic for sending the email. Okay, so first thing is I can use a I send grid client for invoking the send grid services. Okay, so let me add a variable like I send grid. I think it is I send grid client. Okay, so send grid client. Let's import the I send grid client namespace that comes from the send grid actual NuGet package that we installed. Okay, now let me inject this through our constructor. Okay, send grid client. Okay, so now here let's implement the actual logic. So let me prepare a send grid message object. Okay, where new send grid uh, message. Okay, let's import the namespace that comes from the sendgrid.helpers.mail. Okay, so here we have to do some configurations like from address. Okay, from address email object. So it has a overloaded method where we have to pass the from email and the from name. Name is optional, but we can pass it because we have it right in our app settings.json file from email address and from email name. Right, these two things I have to pass as a input to this email address object. Okay, so let me inject the send grid settings here. So private read only send grid settings. Okay, let me import the send grid settings. We know ASP.NET Core for injecting the settings. I can use I options. Okay, not IAS options, I option, and type will be send grid. So let me import the namespace. Okay, send grid settings. Okay, now here send grid, sorry, send grid settings equal to send grid settings dot value. Okay, and I haven't assigned the send grid client also. Okay, so let me assign send grid client equal to send grid client. Okay, now I have settings, so I can pass the value send grid settings dot from email comma and grid settings dot email name. Okay, next I can prepare the subject. If you see subject is directly coming as an input to this method, so I can directly assign that subject. And next HTML body content that is also coming as the input to this method, so pass it here. Now message dot add to, here we have to pass the two email address, nothing but our user email address. So that is coming as a input here. Okay, I will pass it here. So that's about the configuration. Now what I can do, await send grid client dot send email async and pass the message object as a input parameter. Okay, that's it. That is our email logic using the send grid. So now let me register this service uh, in the DI, because if you observe here, it is already injecting the email service, email center service. But now we explicitly implemented, right? So to work it in the DI, we must register in the program.cs file. Okay. So here builder services dot add. Let me add it at scope level. So it will work for per request. Okay. So here I can use that email sender service map with email sender service. Okay, let's import the namespaces. Okay, and one final thing is we need to remove the that fake message. We have fake registration message right here. Click here to relog in. This is a fake link. Fake link means this is directly displaying the user on the page. So we have to change it. For that, we have to go for this page, registration confirmation page. Okay, so let's check registration confirmation page here. Okay, so here on getAsync method, there is a comment added by default code itself. Once you have a real email sender, you should remove this code. Okay, so let me remove this entire code. Let me comment this. Okay. So that's it. We are done with our email integration. Let's test and do actual email confirmation process. Okay. So let me delete again. Okay. So that let me register the user again. Okay. Again, I am getting, sorry, I forgot to build the project. Okay. So let me delete again. Okay. Let me rerun the project. Now try to register. Now see, there is no fake link. It's displaying correct message like please check your email address to confirm your account. That means my email is sent to the server. Okay. So let's query our SQL and here email is confirmed is 0 means I have to confirm my email. So let me go to my email, actual email. So if you not found in the inbox, please go to the spam. Why? Because it contains the localhost URL. So security reasons, Gmail can push into the spam. So here is the email, and this is my email name and my registered email from addresses. Okay. Now if I click on this link, see, I got thank you confirming your email. I did real-time email confirmation. So if I check here, see, now email is confirmed. Now if I try to log in, I am successfully authenticated. So that's all about integrating the email service into our ASP.NET Core identity authentication. Okay. So in the next video, we are going to do two-factor authentication by sending a authentication code to your email address. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video delivered some useful information to you all. If you like the video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel, and please don't forget to like the video. Soon we are going to meet with new content. Until then, signing off.